Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Stella.
I will
Hello,
sit right
everyone.
here.
It's good to see you. These programs are really wonderful. We're all learning something every time we either sit over there waiting to speak or when we come up here to speak.
This
So,
is good.
yeah, it's really fantastic. Financial plans are critically important. And of course, as they always say, the sooner you do them, the better. A great time to start planning for care is before you need it, naturally. So I work a lot with people who are in their mid to late 50s and looking at how their resources are going to sustain for the rest of their lives once they retire. A quick note about how a financial plan works. There are 7 or so steps in there officially, but I'll just give you the 4 major parts that go on. Critical part is discovery. That's establishing the relationship with a planner you can communicate with and having a real sound conversation about what's important to you or your loved ones about their future and how money ties into that future. Otherwise, without a basis of values and priorities and other important personal elements, then you just end up with pages and pages of numbers and charts that might not have anything to do with what's most important down the road. The second major phase is developing the plan. And there's a lot of collaboration that goes on there too. Certainly the planner will be using software and crunching numbers, but they'll also be back and forth. Is this exactly what you meant when you said you wanted to do this kind of travel? Or are you specifically talking about traveling around the world or traveling to see grandchildren? Things like that. So it all is meant to focus on what's valuable and important to you. Once the plan is developed, then it's formally presented to the clients for their reaction and feedback. And at that point, the client may accept the plan recommendations. They might want to go back and tweak them a little bit, but that is the major third portion of it, is the presentation of the plan to the clients. And then finally, the fourth major portion is implementing the plan, actually putting these recommendations into practice, no matter what they are. Sometimes they involve investment programs. Sometimes they involve insurance programs. Sometimes they involve adjusting when you think you'll retire or doing other many different things. But again, the main focus of your financial plan should be on what is important and valuable to you as the individual who the plan is for. So let me tell you a scenario here that's fairly common in the plans that I do. Someone comes to me and they're anticipating retirement within 5 or 10 years. And so we will compile all their information, their assets, their income resources, some things that they might be able to count on later on, like pensions, those kinds of things. And we will test them, and we'll do what's called stress testing, saying what happens to your resources if the market goes in a way that's not ideal for your situation, or if the economy goes in a way that's not ideal for your situation, or your job doesn't, your remaining years of your job don't go the way that's ideal for your situation. And then look at your spending for the next 25 to 30 years in retirement. And one major test to that that's related to care planning is to say, what would happen if one or both members of a couple need long-term care for the last 3 or 4 years of their life? And whereas if you're just looking at things going along the way we all wish they would go along, your assets and resources might clearly be able to last until you're 95 or 100 years old. But it's not unusual to introduce the large expenses of long-term care for just those last 3 or 4 years of life for one person, and the possibility of running out of money before the end goes up by 20 to 40%. And then if both members of the couple need long-term care before the end of their lives, many people will find that the possibility of running out of money goes up to 80, 90, or even 100%. You can actually see the money running out before it's all over. So what do I do in a situation like that? I mean, knowledge is power, and even though we might have to face some disappointing things, the value of the plan is that you get to do a trial run 30 or 40 years before these events might happen. We don't know that they will happen, but we get to do a trial run that says, if these things happen to us, how will we respond? And so, and the response should always be based on what's most important to you. That, again, I always come back to your values and priorities as the main drivers for your decisions. So if things happen, then you don't feel paralyzed. You say, well, we did a trial run, and we update our plan every year, and we just see how things are going. But should something negative happen, we have a better idea as to how we'll respond to that. And so in the case of the long-term care stress test, when we see things going way, way down toward the end, because those expenses can be tremendous. They really can. What would I do? I would connect my clients with my colleague Kelly, who's going to speak next, and have her talk to the clients about the different methods of covering the possibility of needing long-term care. What are some of the ways to insure against it? What are some of the other ways of trying to manage that with either traditional or so-called hybrid policies? So that is the planning process. And again, doing it sooner than later is really, really important when you're talking about anticipating care, which frankly, more than 2/3 of us are going to need before the end of our lives. Thanks.
Thank you.